Hello everyone, my name is Devin with HDpiano.com, and in today's lesson I'll be showing you guys how to play Thunder by Imagine Dragons. Now there's not really a piano part in this song, but since it's one of our top requested lessons, we thought we'd make a melody version for you guys. And it sounds something like this. 2, 3, 4. All right, so that's the verse leading us right up into the chorus. Now, it's a tricky part, no doubt, but I will give you a little tip right off the bat. You can just take the bottom and the top notes, that's the bass and the melody, and it will be much simpler to play. So that would look something like this. So as you can see, it sounds a little thinner, a little drier. I was also using no sustain, but we'll be talking about ways to kind of take what's on the page and either simplify or, go our own separate ways and come up with something new, as I love to do in these lessons. So we'll get through that much in this video, the verse, but over at HDpiano.com we'll learn the chorus and the rest of the song, and throughout I'll be peppering little tips about how to play this if you were to be an accompanist instead of a, melody-focused arrangement. So we'll talk about all that stuff and more over at HDpiano. So let's dive in. But before we do, just got a quick question. This song has so many streams on Spotify, so many views on YouTube. I mean, over 1 billion streams on Spotify. There's not that many songs that break the billion mark that I've seen. So my question for you guys is, can you hit me to some lesser known music, something that has not made it in the mainstream sense, but that you think deserves that level of recognition? I know we all have some artists that we love to hype, so please hype them below in the comments, and hopefully I can discover some new music in the process. All right, Thunder, let's do it. We are in the key of C major. It's important to know these 7 notes that in the key of C just happen to be all the white notes: C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C. We won't be seeing any other notes, no black notes in this song, since we're in the key of C major. Now, our first chord is on C, and in the verse, we're just going between C and F. It's the 1 chord and the 4 chord. So there's this driving bass line, and we'll talk about this as we learn, ways to accompany, but the bass line is kind of the core rhythmic element at the beginning, and it's 1, let's see, 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and All right, so that would be a good thing to just internalize before you get started. That way you have just this, sense of the song. What is at the core of this song? Well, it's this driving kind of like 808, pitched bass drum, essentially. This doom, 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 doom. So an 808 is an old drum machine, and it's kind of a general term for any sort of like pitched drum. It's kind of like long kick. All right, so that's on C. Now middle C is here, so we're 2 octaves down. Now we take it up to F. 1, 2, 1, 2, 3. Sorry, 1, 2, 3, 4. That's the tempo there. 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so practice that along with me, and then let's move along. You might have noticed that I wasn't playing that full bass line when I was playing the melody, and that's just to keep things a little simpler. We're just going to play the first 3 hits of each chord. Stop. All right, so I just played those 3, and then I held that low C. So let's look at that melody. We're starting on middle C, and we're just playing C, A, C, E, C, A, C, E, C, A, C, E, C, A, C, E. All right, the first 2 measures are super simple. And on that E, if you've got the dexterity, you can add this G and the C below. That's a C major chord. Here's root position, C, E, G. First inversion, put that C from the bottom on top. And then same process, invert it one more time, put the E from the bottom on top. We get C second inversion. So we're just going between that and the chord. Add it to the bass line, 3, 4. All right, and then you have the first 2 measures. Now the next two measures are on F, and we're going to add a fifth to the left hand. So a fifth up from F is C, gives us kind of like a power chord, as they like to call it in guitar world. Boom, boom, boom. All right. Hit 3 of those again, and in the right, we're going to do something very similar, but the melody, instead of going up to A, or rather going up to E, is going to go down to A. All right, we see a little more variation here. So 1 and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 E and. So C and A is pretty much the core of the melody until the very last beat. We're going to play F, E on 4 E and a 1. But we're going to add a G below the A to kind of add a little, crunchy harmony. 1 and a 2 and 3 E. Oops. 1 and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 E and a. That's our second little phrase there. Measures 3 and 4 on F. Put it with the left hand, and you get 3, 4. 1 and a 2 and oops, I forgot the third one. 1 and a 2 and 3 E and a 4 and 1 and a 2 and 3 and 4 E and. I like letting off the left hand there. It's kind of like a little pop break to just kind of expose the vocal for a second. And then we bring the bass in nice and thick. Back down to C, and we're going to add a fifth above the C. So before we move on, let's just recap those first 4 measures nice and slow. 3, 4. All right, moving on. All right, so it's a little different. The left hand, of course, is the same rhythmically, but we've just added this G, the fifth, the power chord. And the right hand looks like this. First phrase is the same. Second phrase is almost the same. We're just going to play 2 C's the second time around. Ba, 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 right? So 3 and a 4 E and then add in that chord. Now our next measure, we're going to shift our pinky down to middle C because we're going down an inversion with the chord. This is E, G, C. And it looks like this. 1 and a chord and a chord and a chord and a F. All right, so we have a chord on beat 2, beat 3, and beat 4. And between that, we have either C-A, we have C-A twice, we have C-C once, and then we have C-E at the end. So it looks like this. And again, I found that measure particularly difficult to learn. So if you want to just drop the chord, you totally can. Right. I don't think it's absolutely necessary. Now we're moving on to the last 2 measures of the verse, and it looks like this. All right, so again, very repetitive. F to middle C, F, 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 C, F, 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 C, F, 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 C, and then we have G and C to C and G. And we have that 5th power chord on our left yet again. All right, so one time counting. 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 E and a 1 and 2 E and a 3 and 4 and. All right, so in that second measure, the F kind of comes in soon. 1 and 2 E and a. All right, so it comes in on the second 16th instead of the third. All right, let me play the full 8-measure verse by itself. Actually, just real quick, but we're about to get to the chorus, which we're going to cover at HDpiano.com in part 2. Part 2. Well, I guess I'm not dyslexic, but I just can't add 2. Okay, so part 2, we're going to cover the chorus, and it's interesting playing this on piano because, like I said, there's no piano in the recording. But not only that, there's very little instruments, really. I mean, the driving force, even melodically, is like a sampled voice. And so I'm also curious if you guys have ever had the chance to play with, like Ableton or production software or a sampler. where you can like put a voice sample, a little piece of a recording into the software and then play it on a keyboard. It's really fun. You should look into some software to play around with that because it's really creative and just like it's a good time. I have a little toy called the OP1, and it's like a little portable synthesizer that also has sampling capabilities. Just check it out. Some really neat stuff going on with that instrument. So, I divulge. Here is the verse. 2, nice and slow. All right, that tricky measure caught me off guard yet again. It's hitting those C chords on every downbeat that's kind of tricky. Anyways, that's all I've got for you in this lesson. So please, while you're here, like and subscribe and follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter so you know what's coming next if you haven't already. And I hope to see you over at HDpiano.com to learn the rest. My name is Devin. We'll see you soon.